The first question is brought to you by AARP, our friends down here in the front row. What would you do to address Social Security's financial shortfall and reform the program to put it on stable ground for future generations?
Well, the first thing I'd tell you is, when I was there back in the days, we worked closely with the AARP to structure Medicare. And in my state, we worked very closely with the AARP as we've dealt with Medicaid. And we've been able to bring our Medicaid growth rate from 9% to 3% on our first budget without cutting any benefits or taking anybody off the rolls. In 98 or 99, I offered a program on Social Security. It would have created some private accounts for our young people. It would have started people at a different level based on a measurement of prices and not just prices and wages. And it would have really created stability in the system for a long time. In terms of what we do now, I got a record of balancing budgets and dealing with entitlements. I think there's a couple principles that we would work on. Number one, if you're currently retired, we're going to have to grandfather you into any change. Number two, the baby boomers are going to, ultimately going to have to make some sacrifice depending on what age they are and how close they are to retirement. And young people have to believe at the end of the day that they have a better chance of receiving a Social Security benefit than seeing a UFO, which is they now think they'll see a UFO and not a Social Security check. So we have to work through this carefully, and I will tell you one other thing, and that is this will not get done without bipartisan cooperation. It's going to take Republicans and Democrats, because if you don't, the demagoguery starts, and the demagoguery leads to nowhere. So working on basis of those principles and giving you a glimpse of what I proposed before, we'll just see where things will go. One thing about people who run for president, did you ever notice they make a lot of promises and they don't keep any of them? That's because they propose impractical things. So if I were to be a candidate, I would really like to stick to the fact that let's be practical. Let's not make promises we can't keep. But these issues need to be addressed. Medicare needs to be addressed. Medicaid needs to be addressed. Social Security needs to be addressed. The whole entire federal government needs a lot of innovation and change so that we can get on a path to a balanced budget. Because we have all this debt. First of all, it is immoral for our children and our grandchildren to just put the debt on them. And secondly, it's an overhang. One of the things I've insisted on as governors, we will never be in a position where we're not structurally balanced, because we're not structurally balanced, businesses are going to run away. So, there's just some basic things you have to do in order to get real success, progress, and growth. And growth is the most important thing that we need today.
Thank you. The next question comes from Des Moines Area Community College and their president, Rob Danson.
Oh, there's the president right there. Give him a round of applause.
Nationally, 32% of U.S. employers indicate that they have difficulty finding skilled employees, with as many as 3 million open positions at any one time. The greatest need is middle skill workers requiring more than a high school diploma, but no more than a 1 to 2 year community college degree or credential. What would you do in your first 100 days as president to address the national middle skills workforce shortage? And how would you incent and support more individuals to enter into training for the good jobs that are open?
So I'd have 100 days. Good, this is better than what would you do in your first 5 days. Well, look, we're doing a ton of things in our state, and I don't know how much you know about it, Doctor, but first of all, if you're in high school, we give you a chance to earn credit that can count towards college. We call college credit plus. And some kids can actually almost credit themselves out of their first year, which keeps their costs down. Secondly, we've moved vocational education down to the 7th grade because some people are born to be able to make things. But we also want to make sure that if you're in the vocational technical program, that you also are going to have a rigorous enough academic requirements that if you want to go on to college, community college, you'll have the ability to do that. Thirdly, I think we need to break the agrarian model. So, here's what I like to say. If you're a kid and you can't wait to get home and work on your car at 5 o'clock, why aren't you in an auto shop working on a car a few hours each week in getting the practical experience and learn and understanding about reading and why you need to be able to speak and write and things like that. Now, when it comes to our higher education, we've had an enormous amount of change. First of all, the state of Ohio has worked with our universities and community colleges. We do not provide one dime for overhead. We will only give you money if a student completes a course and graduates. We don't want people walking around in circles not knowing where they go. Secondly, we've also put together, Doctor, a program where it's called Ohio Means Jobs. You can all go on, take a look at it. What it says is, these are the in-demand jobs that are out there, and this is what it takes to get one. So I've asked the universities and the community colleges to give everybody a guidance counselor when they walk in the door. Now, one of our community colleges attached a little fee so they could hire people, but I think it's worth the fee because what happens is you get in, somebody says, what do you want to be? We're going to work with you aggressively and intensely to figure out what your real passion is, and then we will help to guide you through the coursework so you can get a degree. And we think that's critical also in K through 12. So we think guidance counselors should be elevated in our schools, and they shouldn't be viewed as an extra pair of hands that watch the gym and the lunchroom. They need to be encouraging students to figure out what they want to be and to guide them. We're doing all that as well. And workforce, we're big on workforce. We have to train them. And then on online education. Let me tell you, this is really exciting. I think it is. Say you are a single mom and you're working at a low-level job, okay? I am asking our business community, for example, our insurance companies, our hospitals, to put together a curriculum online. So let's say that you want to be a medical coder. This is one that we're doing in Southern Ohio. You could make like over $40,000 being a medical coder. Well, say you're working at a place where you're not making much money. You go online and you take the course. If you complete the course, we guarantee you an interview, and we'll give you a credential that will make you more valuable because you will now have a skill. And some of the business communities coming together to do that, and these online opportunities are enormous. So you want to give people a chance to know that they can get out of their situation. But here's the thing, we talk a lot about income inequality. We know what it gets. You ever heard of Stephon Curry? Okay? He's got skills. That's why he makes big money. Some of the guys on that team don't make big money because they got no skills like he does. The more skills we have as workers, the more valuable we are, the more money we make. And that's what we have to focus on. And education has to be a lifelong experience. And by the way, K through 12 education, before they get to you, because I bet you have a lot of kids who come into your school who have to take remedial programs. That has to end. I mean, we have a 3rd grade reading guarantee. You can't be put in the 4th grade socially promoted until you can read. That's what leads to the largest cause of dropouts are people that can't read. So here's the thing I want to tell you though. K through 12 education ought to be for kids and not for adults. Okay? It's a radical thought. That's what we ought
to do. Thank you, Governor. Did I hear you're a fan of the Golden State Warriors?
No.
Just checking.
Dellavedova, that guy that ran around and shut Curry down for 3 or 4 games, he's going to get a big raise.
As he should. The last sponsor question comes from Microsoft. The last 2 years have been dominated by news cycles about Edward Snowden's NSA leaks and hackers trying to access data stored by the U.S. government. What is your view on the American people's right to privacy from government surveillance and reforms needed to ensure a better balance between national security and privacy?
Well, first of all, Snowden is a traitor, and he has jeopardized the lives of people in this country. I have no idea what could have, let's not even go there. I think it's a balance. I don't like the NSA holding all this stuff. They've improved it, they moved it over to the phone companies, and you have to get a court order. I mean, we want to be safe, but we don't want to give up all of our liberties. So I would, a lot of people really ripping into Rand Paul. I mean, he made some good contributions here by showing things. Now, sometimes you got to know when you're winning, and he was winning, but sometimes you just don't know you're winning. And I think to move this process out of the NSA, look, if most of us don't think the government is working all that well, why would we want them collecting all this stuff? I mean, if we want to put limits on the power of the government, just because it's that doesn't mean that that's okay. So, but I will also tell you that as the governor of a big, big state, we have threats. You talk about lone wolf. Okay, we just, hey, can you imagine? You're one of 9 families, and somebody has just killed someone you love, and those people said, that shooter is forgiven. That's the power of the Lord. Those are heroes, those families. I just hope that I can sometime go down there and meet them. Imagine how much you learn. But the lone wolf is something we're all concerned about. And the only way we can deal with it is with intelligence. But there's got to be a balance between intelligence and our freedoms. I think they've moved in the right direction. Okay, enough from the sponsors. Who else has questions? Yeah. Who's yelling? Immigration? Well, look, we're not going to ship all these people out, but they ditched the line, and they're going to have to pay a penalty, and we've got to make sure that they have to engage in criminal activity, and we have to protect our border. I mean, the idea that we're not protecting our border would be like me just walking into your house tonight, right? You control your own home. We got to control our country. But I think at the same time, we're not going to just take 12 million people and just say you're out of here. And so I think we need the Congress to work together to resolve this immigration thing, and they got to stop fighting all the time and get something done here. So, the problem is when you fight all the time, nothing gets resolved. And so my view is, should they become citizens? I wouldn't favor that, but I said I wouldn't take it off the board, because if you're going to solve this problem, you're going to have both parties involved. I mean, do you understand that one political party in most cases cannot solve major problems? It just doesn't work that way. Obama tried to do this Obamacare, and even people in his party are walking away from it. You cannot do these big things. You can't do Social Security without talking to the AARP, without talking to the young people, and without having both parties involved. See, what we got to do is people got to realize that they're Americans. They're not they can't be just pure ideologues and partisans. I like to say the Republican Party is my vehicle and not my master. I mean, they're not going to tell me what to do. And so I think in the issue of immigration, we need to get things moving on this. And we got to get it going soon. Protect the border, find out who these folks are who are here, make them register. If they're law-abiding, they can stay. They'll probably pay a penalty. And then I think that we're going to be in a much better position with that.
How bad is the situation with that?
Well, we're 18 trillion in the hole, headed to 25 trillion. I've been sponsoring an amendment to the U.S. Constitution to balance the federal budget since I was just a kid. And what's interesting is it's really conservative. Some of the real it's people who think. Here's what they think. They say, okay, if we have an amendment, we're going to have a constitutional convention if Congress doesn't act, and who knows what will happen in the convention. And I respect that. But that's like saying that this building's on fire, but I'm not going to leave because I might get hit by a meteor if I walk outside. We have to get this done, sir, because this debt, look who's buying our debt. Okay, people are buying our debt, they limit our leverage. I mean, our role in the world is critical. Our national security role in the world is critical. If you don't have a strong economy, if you got other people owning you, how are you supposed to carry out a robust and strong national security policy? So, sir, I think it's really important, and I appreciate my uncle being here to ask that question. You can pick them, because
One more.
right here, go ahead. So your arm is jumping up there. I don't know if do you know him? Do you like him? Okay, ask your question.
What's the huge advantage that you think the governor has as a candidate over people who haven't had that kind of executive experience?
Well, look, I mean, anytime the have you told that I've broken out of my shyness and I'm pretty direct about what I think, okay? But I want to be careful because I don't want to disparage anybody. But let me tell you, I've been in both jobs. I was a legislator. Now, when I was budget chairman, I had responsibility and sort of acted as an executive because I had to produce a document and get it passed. But when you're a legislator, what they can do is come home and blame somebody else. You know, I didn't get this done because somebody blocked me, right? So where's the bottom line? 18 trillion in debt, no immigration policy, inability to figure out how to solve health care, which, you know, the reason you got Obamacare is because the Republicans didn't do anything forever. You know, it's a void, and you know, I don't know if you're a scientist, but, you know, voids don't last, something fills it. And so you can just always kind of escape. That's not everybody. There's wonderful people that serve in those institutions. And some people I had incredible admiration for were there with me, and there's many of them there now. But when you're a governor, you can't say that the dog ate my homework. I mean, there's a metric. How many people are working? How many people are not working? What's the budget like? What's the taxes like? How the school's doing? I mean, these are all things you get measured by. So it's, you know, I'm the governor of Ohio, but I really fancy myself as a CEO. And you can measure how I'm doing any which way you want to, and what excuse can I have? I have to work through my challenges. The other thing about being an executive is you learn how to get things done, too. It can't, like I'm talking today to people that in my staff about the budget that's going through, and how do you feel about this and that, and am I going to veto this or am I not? And you learn to put things together. And we may have something happening in Ohio today beyond my budget. We'll see. It would be so exciting. And that is happening because we're figuring out how to get, you know, I talked to this Democrat yesterday. I said, you know, when I was, the first time I was in, you know, they wouldn't even let you talk to me. Now you come and you meet me and I can't get you away from me because you say I'm so much fun. You know, there's so much involved in it, and you have to make decisions. Whether it's, we have a water crisis in Toledo, we've got a big jury decision in Cleveland, whether we have Ebola perhaps in Akron. I mean, you have to be able to make decisions, and you can be judged by the way you make them. For me, I have a really, really good team, and they are very, very committed. And what I tell them is, forget politics. Let's go solve problems. You're not making a mistake if you're being bold. Just let me know what the heck you're doing. And that's kind of the way we operate, and it's been very, very cool. So, hey, great to be here. Great to be with all of you. Thank you. Thanks for coming, and God bless.